All right, well, let me introduce myself. My name is Pam Jordan. What's my name? Excellent. By the way, I'm an interactive speaker, so you don't get to just sit there. And if you fall asleep, I will call you out. So just watch out. I am from imaceliac.com. What's my website? Okay, here's a little secret. My website is called I'm a Celiac because I have celiac disease. I know, it's a tough one. So I live a gluten-free lifestyle, and I have done that for just about 4 years. However, it took 15 years for me to get diagnosed. For 15 years, food was just my enemy. I wouldn't eat because I just didn't know. I would just feel bad, and then I would eat, and then I'd still feel bad, and it was just a mess. So finally, I got diagnosed, and within 2 weeks, I was an entirely new person. I had a 2-year-old daughter at the time, and my husband just looked at me and said, "Who are you?" Because I was just totally different, felt 120% better. And so since then, I've started a blog. What's my blog called? imaceliac.com. See, you're so smart. I love you guys. So the blog is all about living gluten-free with celiac disease. However, if you're gluten sensitive or have a wheat allergy or anything like that, you can definitely find some great things on there. I do product reviews, I do restaurant reviews, I do travel tips, I do giveaways, and I also do weekly menu. I work, and I've got 3 kids. So I come home, I throw it all together, I put it in front of them, and they eat it. And it's gluten-free, and it's good. 2 months after I went gluten-free, I found out I was pregnant with twins. That was a nice side effect of living gluten-free. My husband thought it was like a sale, like buy one, get one free. I, however, was not so excited, but you know, at that point we were stuck. So now we have 3 kids. We've got a 5-year-old and 2-year-old twins. And the 2-year-olds are gluten sensitive. They tested positive for celiac disease in regards to their DNA, but the other tests that we did, there's details on my blog about it, but ultimately they're gluten sensitive. So there's 3 of us in my house that are gluten free, and then my husband and my oldest daughter can eat whatever they want. However, in my house, I cook gluten free so they eat what I put in front of them, right? But at my 9 to 5, I'm a financial executive. I've got my MBA. I work for a large company doing numbers and spreadsheets, and it's pretty boring. So I do this for fun. I do this to help people, because when I went gluten-free, I had to Google what gluten was. And when I found out what gluten was, I about had a heart attack, because that was everything I ate. That was the pasta, the bread, the cupcakes, like all the good stuff. Yeah, I got a high five on the cupcakes back there. So it's just, I just freaked out, and I couldn't find, I bought a ton of cookbooks and I found all this stuff, but no one cooked the way that I cooked. I don't cook from scratch, I'm not a trained chef, and I just want to make dinner. So what I did is I went out and I figured out how to cook all these meals gluten-free. So I've got a cookbook that I actually have sold out of, but you can buy it online. It's on Amazon. It's called Family Approved Gluten-Free Recipes. And this is my book over here that keeps falling over. It's called Succeed at Living Gluten-Free. It's 65 tips to help you live gluten-free. Living this lifestyle is hard. I get that. And it's hard because there's lots of tricky, evil places that gluten hides that can get us sick. And this is a guide to help you. I'm going to go through about 1/3 of it for free today. And so if you want to know the other 2/3, you can come see me at the booth and you can buy it there, or you can buy it on Amazon. So I actually have 4 books, 2 cookbooks and 2 lifestyle guides, and it's all here just to help you live this way. So how do I cook? I cook in a way that's safe for myself and my 2 gluten-free kids, but it's still good. It's still something that my husband, who can eat whatever he wants, is gonna eat. And I have picky kids. Anyone else have that? Yeah. So that's my style. Eating outside the house is stressful and difficult, and it's hard. But I want you guys to be comfortable cooking in your own house. I want you to know that you can cook easy gluten-free recipes that you don't have to have 20 ingredients for, and 5 different kinds of flours and xanthan gums and soy gums and all the gums and tapioca starches and all that. There's an easier way, and with my lifestyle of kids, husband, work, it just fits. So a lot of times you just got to focus on using the simple basic ingredients. I do use store-bought products to help me out, like the flour blends and those kind of things. I do use all those. And just again, my recipes are easy and simple. You don't have to have great cooking skills. Anyone that can turn on an oven or turn on a skillet can cook these things. Now, if you have amazing cooking talent and good knife skills, then you can just make it all look pretty, but you're still going to be able to cook dinner for your family. And I also only cook one meal a day for my family. I'm not a short order cook, so I'm not going to cook a gluten meal for my husband and my oldest, and then a meal for me and a toddler-friendly gluten-free meal for my kids. I'm cooking dinner, and everyone's going to sit down and have dinner. If you don't want dinner, you are free to go to bed, right? Like, that's not how we roll. I'm gonna make dinner, and that's what we're gonna have. We're gonna sit down and have it. So I'm gonna start with some gluten-free basics. First and foremost, one of the most important things is to read labels. What is it? That's right, and I'm gonna say that multiple times today. Because gluten, like I said, likes to hide in tricky places and weird words that don't look like English. So you just need to learn how to do what? Read labels. Thank you. Always wash your hands before you eat anything, whether you're out or inside the house. Always wash your hands. Because say, for example, my loving, wonderful husband makes a peanut butter sandwich for breakfast, and he uses regular gluten bread. He then grabs a hold of the refrigerator door and gets out his drink or whatever. And I come home at lunch, and then I grab the refrigerator door and I start making lunch. There could be gluten on my hands. So it's not a matter of what you have touched, it could be a matter of what someone else has touched. And everyone's sensitivity level is different. A crumb may not affect you, or it may. So you just never know. So always wash your hands before you eat anything. And it's an all or nothing game. If whether medically you have a medical diagnosis that requires you to be gluten-free, or you just feel better living gluten-free, there's no cupcake, no slice of pizza that is worth feeling horrible for. So when in doubt, just say no and don't eat it. It's an all or nothing game, guys. There's no going off the reservation and having a splurge weekend, because you're just damaging your body and it just is gonna hurt and you're gonna feel horrible. We all react to gluten differently, but none of them are positive, right? I've never met someone that ate gluten and I'm like, wow, I feel awesome. Like, if you medically or feel better not living gluten-free, if you eat gluten, you don't feel awesome. So don't do it. Just don't eat it. Move on. You'll be all right for the next 10 minutes to not have that cupcake. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I am going to show you how absolutely simple it is to make dinner. This is called Southwest Chicken Skillet. And if you'll notice, I have cans and packages and chicken. I went to Whole Foods yesterday when I got in, and I bought all of this for about $8. And this could feed a family of 4. Unless you have a teenage boy, then he could eat this and you'd have to make another one. Because I don't know about your teenagers, but the teenagers that I feed, they eat a lot, right? I got a boy right there shaking his head, yeah. So I'll cook one of these for you, and then, no, I'm just kidding. So, super easy. You can come home, you can make this dinner in 20 minutes. It's unintimidating. You can customize it however you want. What I did for the chicken is this is a store-bought rotisserie chicken. You do have to, of course, read the what? Labels, because they had 4 flavors at the store. One of them had wheat in it. So you just got to make sure that what you purchase is safe for you. You could also, if you want to do some chicken tenders, if you wanted some fresh chicken, just put some oil in there, salt and pepper on them, put them down for about 3 minutes, cook them each side, take them out, and then put everything else in. If you wanted to boil chicken and shred it, that's fine. You can make this as simple or as complex as you want. If you want to go bare bones, you can get one of those cans of pre-cooked chicken breasts. Open it, drain it, and make dinner. So if you want to make dinner completely out of cans and a bag, you can. Or if you want to go fresh and you want to put bunch of fresh tomatoes in there, some fresh vegetables and some onions and peppers and whatnot, jazz it up however you want. It all just depends on what your budget allows, what your time allows, and what your skill set allows. So what I'm going to do is just start throwing our recipe together. So what I've got here is an electronic wok. But you could easily just use a skillet. What I do is I start with just a little bit of oil. Right now I've got canola oil. You can use coconut or whatever you like. I'm just putting about 2 teaspoons in there, and I'm just going to let it hot for a second. And what I do is I do that just to kind of lay the flavor levels. And I've got this at medium because I don't want it to get too hot. And like I said, if you're using fresh chicken, whether you use tenderloin or just a chicken breast or a thigh or whatever, at this point you'd add it once the oil got hot. Not hot like popping, but you know oil's ready when it starts making waves, okay? So you season it on both sides, put it down, especially if it's something like a thin cut, 3 minutes on each side, take it out, set it aside, let it cool down, and you've got fresh meat. If you wanted to make this vegetarian, just don't put it in there. If you wanted to do chicken sausage, if you wanted to do ground beef, if you wanted to do, you know, beef tips or pork loin or whatever you have on hand, it's completely versatile. So now I've got it hot. I've opened the cans, I've drained the cans. Now I'm gonna put them in here, okay? I haven't cooked any of this, so I'm just putting this in. You can hear it start popping a little bit. So I'm just going to stir that a little bit, get those coated in. Then I'm going to put in black beans. With beans, you want to check the labels because sometimes they have traces of wheat. I don't know why they put wheat in beans, but just make sure you always check the labels. And I'm just using straight vegetables here. You can get the ones that have the seasoning, especially the tomatoes, the green chilies and tomatoes with seasoning, and those work fine. Just do what? Read the label. That's right, because there are some brands that are safe and some that aren't. So right now I've just got the corn and the black beans in here, and then down goes my tomatoes. Now the tomatoes I have not drained because I want all the yummy juices from there. So like Rotel is a brand, you know, with the chilies. You could use that in this. You could use salsa if you didn't have canned tomatoes and you wanted to use something fresh. There's lots and lots of options. So I'm just stirring this in. Just really what I'm doing is heating it all up. So this is just about 1.5 cups of cooked rice. You are free to make your own. Rice freezes really well, so if you have a rice cooker, you can cook a bunch of rice and put it into serving sizes and then freeze it and reheat as needed. So that's a nice time saver for you. You can just use these bags. You can use a rice cooker, whatever makes you happy and whatever's easiest for you. But this is bare bones simple. I come home, I got 20 minutes and I got, you know, 5 mouths to feed, and it has to be gluten-free, and then we got to run to soccer practice, right? Or ballet or church or, you know, whatever it is that fills up your nights. Or all of the above all at once. So right now I've just stirred all this in and it's bubbling really nice. So now here's where I add the seasonings. I go salt and pepper just to give a nice layer of flavor. And I always say do salt and pepper per your taste. I'm a salt girl. I use pepper sparingly, and that's just a personal preference. Some people really are heavy on salt, so they'll do a lot more. So it just depends. What I've got here is just taco seasoning. You can buy it from the store, but you have to do what? Read the label. See, you're learning things. Or you can have your own blend. I have my own blend. This I bought at the store the other day. Again, you're going to read the label, make sure it's safe. You put about 2 tablespoons, more if you want. You're just looking at chili powder, onion salt, garlic salt, you know, all that kind of good stuff. You can make it as hot or as mild as you want. So at this point, I've got it all seasoned up. We're still bubbling really good. Smells good. And I haven't done anything difficult, right? All of you could do this. The dog could do this if she had thumbs. Okay? The 4-year-old in the back could do this if she had, you know, except for it's hot and it's dangerous. So all we're gonna do now is put in our cooked chicken. Again, it's about 1 cup of cooked chicken. If you're feeding teenage boys or more people, you can put in more. I got 1 rotisserie chicken and I made the same thing yesterday, and then I used the other half of the chicken and used it for this. It just depends on your taste. One time saver is I typically get a rotisserie chicken and then I'll strip all the meat off of it, and then we'll make 2 or 3 meals off of that for the week. I can make casseroles with it, I can make this with it, I can make stir fry with it. It's very versatile. So at this point I've got everything in the skillet. Still super easy, right? I've seasoned it. You can season it up as much or as little as you want. I'm gonna now turn it down a little bit because I want it to just kind of marry all the flavors together and just get nice and happy and bubbly in there. So at this point, you can then go do the laundry, clean the kitchen, play with the kids, you know, whatever it is that you feel like doing. I'll leave this sitting for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes. As long as it's on low, I'll stir it a time or two just to make sure nothing's sticking to the bottom. Again, super duper easy. Any of you guys can make this, and you can add it, customize it, do whatever you want to it to make it your own. I've done this with some fresh green peppers and fresh onions, and just stir it all together, and some jalapenos in there, dump some salsa in it, and then I serve this either with like cheese or sour cream or guacamole or some cilantro on top. So you can make it as fancy or as basic as you want. I want you guys to be free to know that you can live this way. You can cook this way. It's gonna be all right. Because there is some anxiety and stress when you have to do this. So right now, I've got it on low and slow. It's all getting married in there, getting nice and warm and tasty, okay? So now I'm gonna talk about cross-contamination. I've touched on it a little bit, but let me just get you some more tips. With my non-Gallup poll Facebook follower friends, I've done polls, and basically 75% of the people that I interact with live in a mixed gluten home. And what I mean by that is there are gluten eaters and there are non-gluten eaters. And then there's also some other dietary needs going on, whether it be soy-free or dairy-free or, you know, other things. So most of us don't live in a 100% gluten-free house, to include myself. So if that's the case, there's lots of precautions that you need to make sure it's a safe place for you or whoever's gluten-free to eat in your house. And I talk about a big list in my book as to how to do this. I'm going to give you a couple now. Toasters, any toaster that had gluten in it before is no longer safe. There's no amount of scrubbing and washing. So you can either toss that one and get a new toaster, or keep that one and label it gluten and get a new toaster for gluten-free. Because all those yummy little burnt crumbs in there, yeah, they could stick on your nice piece of gluten-free bread and then you're in trouble. So the other option is you can get the toaster oven just like this, but get a larger one so it has shelves. And so make the top shelf gluten-free and the bottom shelf gluten. Just make sure it's labeled clearly so when the mother-in-law comes over, you know, she doesn't put her bagel right on the top shelf. Okay, cutting boards, wooden cutting boards are porous. Wooden utensils are porous, and that means that they're not a flat surface. Gluten, you've got to think of as like glue. And it can stick to things. That's why it's so wonderful for baking, because it binds everything together and makes those lovely holes that we don't get in our gluten-free baked goods as much, right? Because that's what gluten does. So gluten sticks to those wooden porous surfaces and can still get you sick. So that beautiful wooden cutting board that you got from your aunt either now needs to be thrown away or reserved just for gluten items. And that is the same with your wooden utensils, anything like that. So either just chuck them or keep them separate from the safe items. When you're storing gluten and gluten-free items in your house and in your pantry and your fridge, I always suggest putting the gluten-free items on top and the gluten items below. Because here's how it could go down. Hubby comes home with some kung pao chicken and fried rice, and he puts it on the top shelf of the fridge. And you've got a beautiful gluten-free cheesecake on the bottom shelf of the fridge, and then your 5-year-old wants her milk sippy cup. And for whatever reason, the lid isn't on the kung pao chicken. It then falls, drips wonderful soy sauce. Now what's the first or second ingredient in soy sauce? Wheat. Yeah, that's a fun one. And so that all wonderful, good, gluten-y goodness goes all over your cheesecake. What do you do with that wonderful gluten-free cheesecake? Throw it away. Okay? That was a hard lesson. All of my gluten-free stuff is on top. They may be 2 and they can't reach it, but it's on the top shelf and it's safe. So use the top shelf in the fridge and also in the pantry, because if anything's going to fall, gravity pulls things down, and you want to make sure that you have the best option of keeping your stuff safe. Also put it in separate containers, like the bread or the gluten-free or the gluten cookies and things like that we have. They're all in a Rubbermaid container or a sealed bag, so that my husband and daughter have theirs options, but it's all safe. And it's separate from the twins and I's food. You can also use a coding system. You can spend money and get the fun labels. You can get a Sharpie, or you can use dots. Like green dot means yes, red dot means no, GF means safe, no GF means, you know, not good. If you have young kids that are living this way, the color coding system helps a lot. So my babysitters and my mother and mother-in-law know that it has a green dot on it, the twins can have it. If it doesn't have a green dot on it, they can't have it. So it also makes it easy for anyone besides my husband and I to feed them, so that they know that, okay, this is their mac and cheese, it's got a green dot, we're golden, these are their pretzels, you know, I can go to town and feed them. So you can also just use a Sharpie marker and put safe, not safe, gluten-free, not gluten-free, don't touch, whatever verbiage, danger, you know, you want to use in a mixed kitchen to avoid cross-contamination. When it comes to shopping, when you first go gluten-free, it's quite overwhelming, so you need to figure out what to eat, what tastes good, how do I do this, where do I find things. I suggest starting with the basics. And by the basics, I mean focus on meats, vegetables, fruit, and dairy if you can do dairy. And by that, you can walk the perimeter of the grocery store and you're safe, okay? Get your fruits, your vegetables, get some kind of meat, get some dairy, and you'll be all right. And as you walk inside, you're going to have to use caution and read labels, okay? Because there's plenty of good stuff in the aisles, but that's where it gets complicated. Because an apple is an apple is an apple, okay? And that's safe. But once you start looking at the rices and the canned vegetables and the seasonings and the sauces, it gets more and more complicated. So just be careful with that. When I say just start with the basics of a meat, a vegetable, a fruit, and a dairy, I'm going to give you a recipe that any one of you guys can make tonight. You just take a 9x12 casserole dish. You take however many chicken breasts that you need, frozen or thawed, put them in, you're basically dividing it into thirds. So you put your chicken there, you take a 16-ounce bag of frozen green beans, put it in the center, and you can either get frozen chopped potatoes, or you can actually cut potatoes and put them in there. Season them all with salt and pepper, a little season all salt, whatever mix you like. Put a half a cup of melted butter on top. Put it in the oven at 350 for 45 minutes to an hour. Done. You just made dinner. You can also get it prepped in the morning, and so when you get home from work, you throw it in there, talk to the kids about the day, get homework started, get some laundry, whatever. 45 minutes later, dinner's ready. All of that's simple and basic. If you have to avoid dairy, just substitute the butter for some coconut oil or some canola oil or some other good fat that you can use. With the seasonings, you can go as fancy as you want. You want to throw some fresh herbs in there. You want to season, put some onions in there, put some carrots, put some Parmesan cheese on top of the chicken. We have multiple variations of what I call one dish wonder in our house because it's basic. You can literally open up 3 frozen bags, season it, put some butter on it, and 45 minutes later you have dinner. Or you can get a bunch of fresh vegetables and chop them all up. Obviously, if you're using fresh vegetables and fresh and thawed meat, it won't take as long, but it's completely versatile. And that's something any of you guys in here could make. That's not a complicated dish to make. The next thing is, where do you find gluten-free bread? In the grocery store? In the freezer, right? That's not where bread normally lives. So when you go gluten-free, you've got to know where to find things because they're not in normal places. I remember when I first went gluten-free, and I'm in the Whole Foods with a 2-year-old, and I'm pregnant, and I'm trying to find bread in the bread aisle that's gluten-free. 'Twas not there. So someone came to my rescue and helped me find it in the freezer section. So gluten-free bread is in the freezer section. You can put it out on the counter, but it's not shelf safe for very long. So for example, if I know that we're going to have gluten-free sandwiches for the kids' lunch this week, or I'm going to make grilled cheese sandwiches or whatnot, I'll get a loaf of bread, put out what I need on the counter in a bag, but it's only going to give you about 3 to 4 days. Some brands are shelf safe a little bit longer, but mostly about 3 to 4 days is all you're going to get. But you can always obviously pull out what you need and thaw it, and then toast it, because fresh, unthawed, gluten-free bread normally isn't good by itself. You gotta toast it a little bit to harden it up some. Okay, now when it comes to food handling, again, we're gonna wash our hands all the time. If you lived in a mixed home, which most of us do, when you come in, you're gonna clean all the surfaces, clean the handle to the microwave, clean the handle to the fridge, change your dish towel, wash your hands. You've started with a clean surface, keep it clean, and there you go, you're nice and safe. Make sure all your utensils have been washed and they're safe. And then something that helps is squeeze condiments. They will save your marriage and your family a great amount of stress if you buy squeeze condiments. Because for example, say your significant other wants a sandwich, and they take their knife and put it in the mayonnaise, and then they put it on their regular bread, and then they realize, oh, I need more mayonnaise. They stick it back in there and put it on the other piece of bread. Can you touch that Can you touch that mayonnaise? Not anymore. So squeeze mayonnaise, super awesome for the marriage. Okay, kids can do it, and it helps with portion control. The mayonnaise, the ketchup, anything, spend the 60 cents more and get a squeeze condiment, and you only have to buy one instead of two. Peanut butter doesn't come in squeeze, so we have a safe peanut butter and a not safe peanut butter, and they're clearly coded, and mine's on the top shelf. Even though my husband's 6'2" and I'm 5'4", mine's on the top shelf, his is on the bottom shelf, okay? So super helpful. Now, eating out comes with its risks, its challenges, and a decent amount of anxiety, right? Because comes this time during the day where your stomach starts to grumble, and it's time to put something in it, and you're nowhere near home, and you don't have much to eat on you that suffices as a meal, and McDonald's is no longer an option, right? So you've got to find somewhere to eat. So eating out is a challenge. You can choose to stay in and never eat out. I do know people that do that. Or you can go out and take the risk and see what happens. I do eat out at least probably once, maybe twice a week for my work and with the kids, going out for dinner or grab a lunch with my coworkers or something. But you do need to know that there is a risk involved. So here are some things that you can do to help you successfully have a good dinner out. The first thing is to do your research. You don't want to walk into a restaurant blind, because when that happens, you can sometimes just get a water and a salad without dressing. And then you have to make sure that they mix the the salad in a clean bowl. Because if they mix the salad in a bowl where they mix the Caesar salad with the croutons, no longer safe. So always try to do your research, know what is safe, go online. Us bloggers, I take a picture of anything before I eat it, and then I write about it. So if you want to know where I ate last night, just look on my social media and you'll see where I ate and what I ate and if it was good or not. And I'm okay today, so it was safe. So do your research, try to not walk in blind. And I try to have a handful of places that I know are safe for me to eat at. So when given the opportunity to suggest places for lunch or for dinner or girls' night out or whatever it may be, I suggest the places that I know I can eat at. So I'm going to give a list of 3 or 4 places that I know have safe food for me, and I'm going to say, let's go to one of these places, and then I know I'm good to go. Typically, I suggest always talking to the manager, because they're most in tune to the food prep, all the ingredients, how everything's handled. Waiters don't have that much knowledge, just because it's not part of their training typically. Some waiters are amazing and can do everything, and then sometimes you can talk to the chef and still get sick. So you just have to be careful. When in doubt, just don't eat. Always carry a protein bar or some kind of snack with you. I don't go anywhere without food. When I travel a lot, I always pack food and clothes, and my food is larger. Like, I have more food when I came here than I did clothes, because I knew I had to eat and I had to bring it with me. So always have snacks with you, because if you end up walking into somewhere blind and all you can get is a water, you want to be able to have some sort of, protein or some sort of sustenance to get you through until you can get home, or you can get to a safe restaurant, safe place to eat. Shared fryers. I hate to break your heart, but if your French fries are cooked in the same fryer that your 10-year-old's chicken tenders are cooked in, your fries went in the oil gluten-free, they came out of the oil covered in gluten. So always ask when you're looking at getting French fries or some sort of fried food. They could use the most amazing corn flour seasoning for their, and breading for their fried chicken, and you haven't had fried chicken in years. And then they dunk it in the oil, where they also put their onion rings that are battered in flour, and that amazing gluten-free could have been chicken is no longer safe. So just make sure you ask the right questions. I love French fries, like a lot love French fries. So I have 5 places that I know in where I live in North Carolina that are safe. So if I have a hankering for French fries, I know where I can go that's safe. And again, sometimes you can still get sick. I ate somewhere in town Friday night, and shortly after realized it was not going to be a good night. But that was the first time I've been glutened in probably 4 months. And like I said, I eat out a decent amount. So it's just a risk, and you've got to be willing to take it or not take it. Gluten-free travel, again, bring food with you. Airplanes are not so convenient for providing you with food. For some reason, the peanuts have wheat in them. I don't know why, but if you look at the back of the peanuts, it has a wheat warning. And then the pretzels, obviously not safe. So it's always best just to bring food with you. And then whenever you get to a location, find a grocery store and stock up on what you need. I landed in Indy 3 o'clock on Friday. I was at a Whole Foods by 5, because I needed to have food. And so I got some basics to get me through the next couple days, and I got this stuff here. So know where grocery stores are. My family and I just went on vacation to the beach for a week, and I fed my family of 5, an extended family of 4, gluten-free for a week. I had a menu plan, I went grocery shopping, and I fed all 9 of them 3 meals a day gluten-free. And it's all just because I had a plan, and I went shopping, and I didn't bring any of it with me. I just knew what I was going to make, and it was all easy, basic stuff, and I cooked for us for a week. Another thing is there are some great phone apps that you can download. Some of them are free, some of them cost money, but you can use as a way to find food around you. Like I could pull up I've got at least 3 apps on my phone that I could pull up and say, okay, this is where I am, what around me is safe. And it'll pull up their menus and people's review of, don't go there, it was bad, or they've got a great staff, it's very knowledgeable, the menu is very good. So that's a great resource. And again, you can always Google like Aspen, Colorado gluten-free menus, and someone like me has been there, took a picture of it, and talks about it. Like I said, no one's allowed to touch their food in my house until mom takes a picture of it. Like my 2-year-olds wait for me to take a picture, and then they start eating. My poor husband, when we go out on a date, he just stands there, or he just sits there, he's like, can I eat yet? Nope, not yet, I need lighting. Hold up the candle. So someone has eaten somewhere, wherever you're going, and someone has written about it to help you out with that. Okay, so let me touch on menu planning. This is something that I feel strongly about. And you don't have to be super organized or type A personality to succeed at doing this. All you have to do is take a small amount of time out of your week to come up with your plan. It's Sunday night, the week is coming. You've got to make lunches, you've got to have stuff for breakfast, and you've got to make dinners. You know what your week looks like, you know what the kids' schedule is, you know what your work schedule is, and you've got to make some food. So come up with your menu, come up with a plan, write it down, make it visible. Have it somewhere in front of you. I put on our fridge a whiteboard, and I have a menu, so anyone in our house that can read, which is 3 of us, can know what's coming up for dinner, okay? And I use that list then to make my grocery list. So I go to the grocery store Sunday night with my list made from my menu, and so I have food for 15 to 20 meals, or however many meals I'm going to be making that week. And I only buy those things. It helps if you're on a budget, which most of us are, because money doesn't grow on trees. So I put in my buggy what I know I'm going to need. Anyone play the fun trick where you spend $150 on a cart full of groceries and you get home and you have nothing that you make? Yeah, that was a good time. Yeah, so then you have to go back out after being in the grocery store and just spending 150 bucks because you realize all I got was stuff for breakfast, or all I got were snacks, or I can clean my house but I can't cook. You know, like I have toilet paper and Windex and my house is gonna be spotless, but we're gonna be hungry. So have a plan, write it down, and shop off of that plan so that you can be prepared. And then part of that is you need to be flexible because life happens and sometimes someone gets sick, or you're late from school, or you forgot to look at the menu and you realized you were supposed to put something in the slow cooker and you forgot, so now you're gonna make Wednesday's meal. Because Wednesday's meal is stir fry and that's gonna take 20 minutes. Or you forgot to do whatever. And what the good point is you have food in your house that is safe for you and your family. You have all of the ingredients and you can make dinners. And if life happens and it all goes bad and you just can't cook any of it for whatever reason, next week, guess what you're gonna make? All of those things because you already have the ingredients. So you just saved yourself groceries once you recover from whatever caused the chaos of the week before. Mix it up. You want to be flexible. Don't get stuck in a rut. There's some great resources out there for recipes and different products. I've got a cookbook. If you come to the blogger table, we've got more cookbooks. There's authors with cookbooks. There's lots of food out there. Pinterest is super fun. Anyone addicted to that? Oh yeah, I can waste hours on that thing. I can find some great recipes on there. So mix it out. Nobody wants to eat chicken and boiled chicken and rice and green beans every day. That's just boring. Look, I gave you 2 recipes today that any of you can make. You can customize them to your family and you can make dinner. Super easy. Freezer meals, I'm a big component of freezer meals. I love my crock pot slow cooker. I actually have 3 of them because I love them a lot. I use my slow cooker at least once a week. I'm gonna put this down so I can stir for a second. Make sure this is all getting nice and warm and happy. Oh, it smells amazing. So I use freezer meals sometimes when life is, I know, is super gonna be crazy. What I'll do is I'll spend about 2 hours cutting and chopping and sorting and putting the meals for the week in a Ziploc bag, freezing it, or just putting it in the fridge. And that morning, I open the bag, dump it in the slow cooker, put the lid on the slow cooker, set it to low, and go to work. When I come home, my house smells amazing because someone made dinner, right? And all you have to do is defrost some rice and make some gluten-free noodles, or however you're gonna serve it. So slow cookers are your best friend. In my cookbook, I have a ton of recipes that are slow cooker, super easy to make, and they're super simple. And if you know life is going to be crazy for a season because, say, your mother-in-law has to come live with you because she's getting your knee replaced, or someone's having a baby, or you're going to be sending your kid to college and you're going to be stressed about that, or whatever. If you do this ahead of time, you can get a week or 2's worth of food prepped and ready. And all you have to do is open a bag and put in the slow cooker. Some of them you can even put in a skillet like this and have dinner in 20 minutes. Super easy, very little prep time, easy to do. So what's my website? I'mACeliac.com. So this is the Succeed at Living Gluten-free. I gave you about 1/3 of this in my talk if you want to read the rest of it. I've got it for sale. You can also get it on Amazon. I am here to help you guys. That's why I do this. I want you guys to be empowered that you can cook this way. You can make safe meals for your family. You are not alone. It's going to be okay. You can eat out successfully. You can have a good kitchen where it's safe. And you can send 2-year-olds to school and they eat. This lifestyle is doable. So unfortunately, I cannot share this with you because Indiana has some wonderful food preparation laws that I don't want to go into it, but I can't share it with you because Indiana's weird. But you're more than welcome to come up and smell this because it smells amazing. And just see that, look how simple it is. I've been up here 40 minutes. Dinner's ready. It could have been done 20 minutes ago, but I kept talking. Okay, so what questions do you guys have? How can I help you? Anything? Are you all warm, fuzzy? What do you got? Everyone's good? Anything? All right, thank you all very much. I appreciate you for coming out. You can come look at dinner that I made. Come meet me at the booth, and I'd love to talk to you there. Thanks.